Caw! What are you? I'm a stork. But why? I don't know. And why do you have that massive skin flap? Aerodynamics? That is absolutely not how that works. Ladies, gentlemen, and trainers of all ages, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is a wonderful game in so many ways, and today it's time for one of the hardest videos for me to make. Normally, in every Pokemon generation, the Pokemon themselves are a bit hit or miss. There are some great ones, some alright ones, and some that are just downright questionable to begin with. For example, Bruxish. Need I say more? I mean, what is this absolute affront to the human senses? However, in Scarlet and Violet, I would argue that this is the overall strongest roster of new Pokemon that we've gotten in over a decade at minimum. I love the vast majority of the designs. They are wonderful and inspired and enjoyable, but of course, as with everything when the bar is generally high, there still must be some things below it. And so today I'm going to point out, then talk about my personal least favorite Pokemon of Generation 9, just based on how they make me feel and nothing else. Number 10, Flittle and Espathra. I mean, what even is going on here? Honestly, Flittle is just this tiny ball of a life form that is wearing a tutu for some reason, like a 2-inch tall ballerina. And then it evolves into Espathra, which is just a weirdly colored psychic ostrich. Yes, I get that the colors are supposed to indicate its psychic nature, but when I look at it, all I can see is thigh-high socks. Thigh-high socks on the legs, and a whole-ass sock going up the neck too. Because why not, I guess? Then they gave it human hair for some reason. It looks sort of weird. It isn't one of the greatest offenders in the game, which is why it is only number 10 on this list for me, but it is definitely a far cry from the better Pokemon this generation, in my opinion. Number 9.
Guys, it's Pikachu!
Pawmi, Pawmot, and Pawmot. And, okay, in an absolute vacuum, this one is actually fine. It's just a funky little electric mouse that grows up to be a bit of a blob with overly long arms and little stubby legs. It turns into an electric fighting type, which is sort of cool, but let's not beat around the bush here. This is just a Pikachu clone. They do one of these almost every generation. It's just Pikachu, but orange. Oh no, what do you mean it's an electric Pokemon? That's just how they look. But that's not true. There are plenty of electric Pokemon that aren't just big mice with varied features and little colorful cheeks, and many of them are great. We just don't need more electric rodent Pokemon, and it annoys me when I see one because Pikachu already fills that role. It exists. People love Pikachu. Stop adding more Pokemon that aren't Pikachu but are clearly made with Pikachu in mind. I get it. Pikachu sells tons of merchandise, but that doesn't mean you need to make 20 new Pikachus either. Number 8, Kilowattrel. This one isn't even aggressively bad in any way, really, to me at least. It's just sort of boring. They've made plenty of interesting bird-based Pokemon in the past, but then we come upon Kilowattrel 9 generations in, and it's essentially just a bird with some yellow on it to indicate that it is both flying and electric type. Like, think about Corviknight, or even Pelipper. Yes, I like Pelipper quite a lot. It's funky in a good way. Kilowattrel, however, just feels like they are playing it as safely as they physically can. It's just a bird. What else even is there to say about it? It's not a bad bird per se, but it is just a bird. Number 7. Gholdengo. Okay, this one might get a bit of flack from people because it's definitely interesting as a design, and its actual power level is great within the game too, but I'm not judging them based on how strong they are here. This is just how I feel about the way that they look and their existence as an entity, and, well, Gholdengo is just the cheese string man, but made of gold. It is the cheese string man, but after he has built his empire selling cheese strings and didn't know what to do with all the money that he made selling the cheese strings, so he just went to a plastic surgeon and said, "Hey, can you turn my skin into gold?" It's an unnecessary realization of our post-capitalist society and the absurd financial value of cheese strings within it. But also, it is the evolution of Gimmighoul, who I think is an absolutely lovely little Pokemon, just a little ghost guy with coins for eyes who hangs out in a box. And I just think, given what the little guy looks like, the big guy is just a little bit disappointing, you know? Number 6, Spidops. What even is this supposed to be? It just doesn't look good, which really upsets me because its pre-evolution in Tarantula is just lovely. Just a little spider dude in his own ball of silk that he made himself. He just exists curled up in his own warm little mess. But then he evolves into Spidops, which is just this weird four-legged, four-armed creature looking like it's almost made of wood, like a puppet. I would call it a bipedal spider, but realistically it still has 4 legs on the ground. I just don't like the way it stands. I don't like the way that it's formed. It's just weird weirds me out to look at. It looks like it's wearing human clothes for some reason, but its face is still aggressively spider-like, but again, almost like it's made of wood. And the thorax is supposed to be like a spinning top or something, but if that was the case, why even give it the legs? Just have it move by spinning around on the top, you know? That would have been so much better. But as it stands, and I'm literally talking about the way that it stands, this one just upsets me. Simple as that. Number 5.
I have 3 heads.
Iron Jugulis. I don't even want to spend too much time on this one. For me, it's really actually quite simple. This is the Paradox Pokemon version of Hydreigon, whose most notable feature is that it has 3 heads, one in the normal spot and then one instead of each hand. That is a cool design. It's interesting. And then they made Iron Jugulis, which is just a robot version of the same thing, and why? It makes the most interesting part of Hydreigon just pointless. How do I put this simply? A natural wild animal with 3 heads? Whoa, that's weird. That's crazy. How'd that even happen? A robot with 3 heads? Well, someone just built it that way, I guess. Makes sense. Number 4, Sandy Shocks. Just why? Why would you take a Pokemon based on pretty hefty technology and then buck it back to a primitive version? It just looks hilarious to me, and not in the way that I normally actually enjoy. It has little iron filings that look like hair, it uses magnets as straight up legs, which just looks funny as hell. It just is not better than Magneton even is. I can't even remotely take it seriously, and when I look at it as a joke, it doesn't even make me laugh. I just don't like it. Number 3.
It's a bird.
Squawkabilly. You know how I got upset with Kilowattrel just being a bird earlier? Well, in hindsight, it at least had the personality of being an electric type and having yellow on it to represent that. This is just a sad little parrot with an eccentric bit of plumage. That's about it. That is all of its personality. It's a normal type, and it's normal. It has some hair. It doesn't even look enthused to be here in this plane of existence. It just suffers through its own life. Maybe it's not fair that I'm talking about it this way, but the way I see it is just the most bland, uninteresting bird design that I've seen in a very long time, and that really upsets me because, as I said before, I like bird Pokemon. This, though, is just a really boring one to me. Number 2, Flamigo. What? I mean, where did all the imagination go? I'm sorry that it seems like I'm just bashing on the bird Pokemon now, but I swear, normally I do love birds, but this generation there is just something weird going on, because this is literally just a flamingo. Flamingos are beautiful birds. They're one of my personal favorite birds in real life, but I don't play Pokemon to see real-life birds just standing around the Pokemon world, and this is 100% just an actual genuine flamingo with no changes except that it looks like it's made of plastic. There's nothing special going on with the design here. It's not got some super creative twist to it. What happened, though, almost entirely, if I had to guess, is someone realized they were making a Pokemon game in a Spanish-based region, made the joke Flamigo, then said to make it into a Pokemon, and so they just put the absolute minimal effort into making that exist. It bothers me because a well-done Flamingo Pokemon could be incredible, but instead we just have this little plastic thing. Number 1.
Wow, it's a stork.
Bombirdier. What do I even have to say? This does at least have some imagination put into it, no doubt about it. It is a stork, which is a real-life bird, but mixed in with the old myth or tale that parents would tell children that babies would come into existence by being delivered by storks to the parents. Though in those tales, storks would have a piece of cloth to do this with, not their own skin flaps. And, well, again, there is creativity here. The Pokemon is just really not good-looking to me, like aggressively not good-looking to me. Like, disgust is the wrong word, I guess, but I actively do not want to look at this thing even when it is on my screen. Just the concept of a massive bird with a skin flap the size of its entire body that it then carries around in its mouth for some reason is just, it's bad. It's a problem. I can get into the whole fun logic of it stores rocks in the flap and then drops the rocks on its enemies from above. Like, that's sort of fun conceptually, but just visually, aesthetically, this one causes me pain inside, and that's why it's taken the number 1 slot. And that's it, everyone. My own personal list of the 10 worst new Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, based entirely on what I think about how they look in their existence as a whole. What do you all think? Do you agree with my choices? Do you vehemently disagree with some that you think are instead lovely? Are there ones that I didn't even mention that you think are much worse? Let me know down below. Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.